even with data and velocity and a kestrel, you want to keep in mind what your shooting group, I call it the shooter's bracket. You need to be aware of your influence on the shot patterns. I like to get those at 100 yards doing the craft drill. What that means to me, if I know my bracket, is that even though this shot went here, let's say it was an odd shot and I shoot half MOA, then any shot in this area would have been, this could have been any shot in this area. It also could have been any shot in this area. So an impact within a tenth, I'm not gonna account for like I might with a kestrel shooting prone. You have to have that flexibility to understand your influence on where those shots go. This one happened to be perfect, but what that means is there's a chance that it was low out of a high group and high out of a low group. We don't know that. So if a shot goes within a tenth of this water line, I'm not gonna adjust it. Now, if a shot went down here, I'd bring it up to the water line. As long as it maintains that plus or minus a tenth for me and my shooting, I'm gonna carry it out to a distance and assume that some of this includes my error. So this waterline shot that somebody would say is perfect could have been the result of an error. And we have to maintain that for credibility as we walk out. Okay, we're at 800 yards and we collected analog data. The analog data depends on a couple things. One of the major factors is the shooter. The shooter always inputs error to the system. Because of that, you have to be comfortable with your shooter bracket, which means the error that you have at 100 yards on paper is error that you're gonna input at any distance. And so a shot is gonna fall into that bracket and you don't know where that shot is in the bracket. So let's say my hand's about 8 inches, right? Let's say I shoot 1 MOA. If this was a low shot, anything inside of here would have been within my shooter bracket. And if it was a high shot, anything above this would have been a shot that was acceptable. So if there was an input here or here, I might not be as quick to adjust my data. What I would probably do is take a follow-up shot to see if they're both low, or 3 shots to see if they're low. 1 shot is a very hard thing to make a determination off of. Now I know that standing, I can produce less than a half MOA. So for me, when I'm milling that, right, this is gonna be my tolerance factor for where I'm not gonna adjust dope. In this zone, I'm not gonna be adjusting my data. Out of this zone, I'll probably adjust my data or take follow-up shots. You need to make sure as you're walking it out that you're not recording errors and collecting that as hard truth. The hard truth is repeatable and consistent, but I'm comfortable that from 300 yards to 600 yards to 800 yards, this data is lining up perfectly, and I don't need a kestrel anymore. I just need a range and a calculator because I'm not sharp enough to do that.